If you haven't already seen episode 1, make sure to click the card at the top of the screen right now and head over and watch that episode first. Starting off the season with just 3 points from 3 games, we really needed to get back on track at the Britannia in Stoke. The talking point of the first half was Joe Allen getting a red card for 2 pointless fouls after only 20 minutes. It didn't take long for Joe Lolly to take advantage of the 10 men, an ideal pass from Davies and a nice bit of skill, and Forest take the lead. Despite their earlier red, Stoke tried to remain aggressive, this time only getting a yellow card. As we approached half-time, Lolly managed to fire wide from distance. But just before the break, Stoke found themselves slicing through Forest. A good effort hits the crossbar and manages to bounce clear. Even though we were playing against 10 men, it felt like Forest were the team that were holding on. This time, we were only spared by a really good save from a near-post corner. We needed to push to try and get that second goal, but a poor volley saw a pair of ricochets end up bouncing into the Stoke keeper's arms. In the end, Forest found themselves dropping back, but determined defending for the last 5 minutes saw us grab our second victory of the season. A good start for this episode. Hoping for an easier game, we faced Sutton United in the second round of the League Cup after our victory against Reading. Carvalho was starting as the main playmaker, and he needed to dominate this game to show how good he could be to force his way into our league squad. The first chance came to him after only 3 minutes. A long-range curling effort required a top save from the League Two goalkeeper. We'd identified the main point of weakness for the Sutton United team as their very slow centre-back partnership. Mighton and Zande Silva were key to exploit this and nearly did early on, but again, the Sutton United keeper kept us out. Carvalho had yet another chance before 10 minutes had passed, this time needing an even better save from the goalkeeper. After scoring from a corner, we needed to show Sutton United the difference in class between our teams. With Carvalho instrumental, we cut our way through with some really nice passing play, with João Carvalho scoring in the cup for the second time after a great Lyle Taylor assist. However, you couldn't write off the London team yet. A powerful strike from the edge of the box saw them go into half-time only a single goal down. However, soon they'd also be a man down, with a bizarre pointless two-footed lunge on young midfielder Tyrese Forner. The rest of the game passed reasonably quickly with very little happening until substitute Lewis Graben sent the City ground into raptures for bagging a third goal against the League Two team. And that's exactly how it would end, 3-1 to the Reds. Next up was the big one, an East Midlands derby against Derby County. It was actually struggling Derby who nearly scored first. After only 6 minutes, a near-post effort was saved well by Brice Samba. Good use of wingbacks saw an overload in the middle for Forest, with Davies yet again doing brilliant hold-up play to give Brennan Johnson a chance which he unfortunately couldn't quite finish off. 15 minutes later, Zinkernagel and Davies linked again, before sprinting through to open his body and somehow getting enough power on the shot to open the scoring. Not satisfied with only one, 2 minutes later Zinkernagel hit another curler, but this time Marshall did enough to keep it out. As you'd expect from a derby game, both sides gave some fiery challenges, but it was actually Sam Baldock who nearly fired a goal next. A pass somehow going between 3 Forest players blasted over the bar from close range. Brice Samba used some of his elite distribution skills to free Zinkernagel yet again, who just about managed to hold off the faster defender and carried the ball close enough to calmly finish into the corner of the goal. It was 2-0 to the Reds. Derby didn't quite know when to give up though, with a late chance happening in stoppage time. Thankfully for Forest, Samba snatched the ball off the striker and the match finished 2-0 to Forest. With news of a hot prospect firing goals in for the Forest under-18s team, there was more pressure than normal for the first team strikers to perform well. However, it was actually wingback Jed Spence that nearly opened the scoring after just 10 minutes. Yates, who was playing in midfield to combat Cardiff's height, linked well with Davies, and a teasing cross from Alex Mighton almost found Zinkernagel, but the away team just about kept it off his boot. Cardiff were deploying some interesting tactics of their own. 46 pace centre-back Aidan Flint was playing at right wing-back, but it was actually the even taller Kiefer Moore who nearly blasted one in after a really good run from Colwell. Moore again was involved with Cardiff's next big chance, this time providing a great pass through to Bakuna, who really should have scored, but the credit has to be given to Samba for yet another key save. Again, Colwell and Kiefer Moore were combining really well, and again Samba had to be at his best to prevent the opening goal going to Cardiff. Forest started getting more of a grip on the game, with Spence almost hitting the ideal low cross before Ojeda won the ball high and Taylor tried an ambitious effort from 35 yards. As the match looked like it was going to be a boring 0-0 draw, Ryan Yates stormed forwards from defence to win the ball and chose the right pass through. Taylor likewise chose the right pass, and Johnson gets the exact right angle for Zinchenko to volley home his 4th goal of the season. And that's how it would end, 1-0, and almost an undeserved 3 points were heading back to Nottingham. Having moved from having just 3 points in 3 games to 12 points after 6, Forest were now one of the form teams. We had a quiet first half against Middlesbrough, with Samba keeping us level after 28 minutes. Brennan Johnson did nearly get Forest ahead with a powerful shot from the edge of the box, but it was well saved by Daniels in the Middlesbrough net. Just as the whistle was about to blow for half-time, Middlesbrough had one final chance to attack. They made it worthwhile, with the Forest defence being sliced apart and the first goal going to the Borough. With it all to play for in the second half, Johnson managed to beat his man before floating a back post cross over to Zinchenko, who could only just miss the target. With Borough focused on shutting down any attacks, they made sure of the victory in the 79th minute with a powerful Sporos shot that Samba had no chance of stopping. With very little quality being shown on the pitch from the Forest attack, the game ended 2-0 to Borough, and it was a deserved victory for the Northerners. Looking to bounce back in the next game against Huddersfield, the game actually started very similarly to the Stoke match, with a bizarre moment of madness after only 5 minutes that saw Forest playing against 10 men for the majority of the match. With a warning of what was to come, an early drive from Cafu could only find its way above the net into the away fans. Starting his first league match of the season, Carvalho in his new wide playmaker role found a Premier League level pass to Brennan Johnson, who calmly slotted it in to make it 1-0 to the Reds. Despite being a man down, Huddersfield didn't give up. Acuna had a good chance just after half-time, with yet another brilliant Samba save. Only a few minutes later, another chance for the Terriers, this time for Rolando Aarons, and he made sure it found the top corner. They might still be one man down, but they're no longer 1 goal down. Zinchenko had a chance to regain the lead after a top-quality run, but Schofield managed to keep the ball out of his net. Having moved deeper, Carvalho and our target man, Davies, created a good chance, but the shot was from a difficult angle and saved just wide of the goal. In the very last minute of normal time, Graben and Zinchenko did the best build-up of the entire match. A fancy piece of chest control and a volley saw the ball agonisingly miss the side netting, and this was to be the last chance of the match in a game that would end 1-1. Unfortunately, the last half of our Portsmouth match actually corrupted, so I've only got a tiny bit of the first half that I can show you. In our high visibility kit, it was Portsmouth that started off really well, nearly scoring after just 2 minutes. But this was the proof we needed that we weren't going to be facing an easy game. Thankfully, former academy friends Bondswell and Mighton linked well down the left, before floating across to the returning Joe Lolly. The perfect way to respond after a short-term injury. Only a couple of minutes later, Carvalho, Lolly and Mighton again linked up, with the young American in a position he really should have scored a second goal from. But that's about as far as the recording actually managed. We ended up winning 2-0, and there was very little pressure from Portsmouth bar a few long shots that sailed over Samba's bar. We were through to the next round, where we would face a similar sized team in Gillingham Town. Thank you all for watching. We're now at the game where real life Steve Cooper took over Nottingham Forest, so let's see if we can match that incredible run he went on. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and I'll see you all very soon for another FIFA video. Thank you and goodbye.